Hey guys, my name is Jimmy and welcome to kind of Euro Truck. This particular video is basically not going to interest a lot of you, but some of you, maybe. It's basically just me going through on Photoshop and designing a new truck livery, or truck skin for the game. And that's pretty much all it is. It's just literally almost from the start, because some stuff didn't actually record. I'm still playing with the recording software and getting that to work and everything. So it didn't quite record everything, but for the most part it's done most of it. I won't be talking through all of it because there is quite a lot, so there will be music playing as well. But every now and then I will be jumping in just to explain what's going on. So basically what's happening here is to get everything to line up. Now this part that I'm actually doing right now I'm going to scrap because I didn't like it. But to get stuff to line up with certain parts when it's not anywhere near, I always find the easiest way to do it is to actually just draw the part, do a quick green line just as a test thing, and then you can draw it out as you see there. It's not always perfect, but you can roughly play around. Again, all this faffing around, this is part of skin making, more so when you make one of your own, rather than taking a design and recreating it. Sort of, if you are creating the Eddie Stobbart design, you're looking at it and you are creating it rather than playing with stuff and seeing if it looks good, and if not, you get rid of it. Whereas this one, I didn't like it. It was a cool idea, but I didn't like it. You also saw a flash up there of the previous skin that I'm overwriting. The reason why I'm actually doing this new skin is because I just recently did a Scania, the new one, the 1 series that's just been released, the mod. And I made an awesome skin for that with loads of pinstriping and stuff like that, and it was blue with a white stripe on it, lots of pinstriping to it, and I kind of fell in love with that look. And originally I was just planning on making that as an older version of my rap that I do, but after doing that, and as well as creating another skin for a YouTube that I watch, doing a lot of pinstriping and fun, I decided that it was time to you just got a quick link to the skin there. Make a new skin where I actually put some effort into it. This is just me looking for files at the moment. That's a very old one from a very old truck that I did ages ago. And I think I'll just be starting the pinstripe. Yeah, this is how I always start the pinstriping now. I have this little template thing that I use for the corners, and I just get that, line it up, and put them all into the right place. I did make a bit of a mistake when it came to the pinstriping, which you will see later on. But I shall come back when I need to talk. There we go. So that was just me checking in game, looking at the position of everything. I'm checking the stripe along the middle, as well as, because that's going to get changed a little bit, as well as the pinstriping position, which, as you can see now, this took a lot of fidgeting around trying to get it to be in the right position. I actually ended up redrawing a lot of it as well, so it was kind of fun. But again, this is part of creating a new skin rather than just designing one that already exists. Is that you do something, you might think it looks good in Photoshop, you put it in game, and yeah, it actually looks crap. Because as you can see, you're designing on a flat. This is 2D that you do in the Photoshop one. As soon as you put it onto a 3D object, it probably won't look anything as good as it does in Photoshop. So it's a lot of the time you spend, and I usually turn Steam off this because I don't want to be annoying people with it constantly saying, blah blah blah, it's playing Euro Truck. Because I will probably start up Euro Truck, like, on some skins it can be just a couple of times. On this one it took quite a few starts up of Euro Truck, few that I actually skipped out. But it does sort of, take a long time of trial and error and testing and playing, because you're never quite sure if it will look the same. And this took a long time as well, taking all the bits and putting them on the corners and faffing around with that. So yeah, back to the music. I don't know why, but this one took me forever to actually get to go into the right position. Literally, I spent a long time doing that, just that one. The rest of them were absolutely fine, but that one just couldn't get it to go in the right place. There we go, so this is the next test in game where I'm looking at the position of all the corners. I always do the corners first before doing the straight lines, just because it's easier. Also the part going around the side as well, the white stripe. That's pretty much the final design on that one. That's exactly how I wanted, so I left it there. And of course I forgot to do some bits, which I always do. I'll always forget bits and notice them when I'm in game. So right here, this is how I do a lot of the pinstriping. I'm using the custom shape just so I can get a smart object rather than just, you know, like drawing it out kind of thing. And it just keeps it slightly clearer. Not perfectly, it would be a lot clearer if I used Adobe Illustrator, but I don't have that, so, you know, you just have to make do with what you've got, really. As you can see, pinstriping in this particular method does take a long time to do, but when you finished it, it definitely does make a difference to just using the pen tool and doing, like, if you know Photoshop that is, using the pen tool, doing stroke, like I do here. It's okay for corners and stuff like that because it's quite hard to do any other way, but actually making all the straight lines and stuff like that, it's more time consuming to do it the way I'm doing, but you always get a better result for it. I recently discovered that whilst doing another truck skin. So here we go, this is the first test of the full pinstriping done. What didn't occur to me at the time was actually it's quite a bit too thick, the pinstriping. But here we are now, taking off the little details. Now this took a while to figure out what I was doing because I was being an idiot. But on the corners of my pinstriping I have this little embellishment flourished in, and I've done it for a long time. I used to do it on old trucks and stuff like that. But I decided to put it onto this one. However, what you'll see me doing is a big mistake that I made, in which I did all of them, and it wasn't until after I'd done all of them that I realised that actually they were far too big. And I could just resize them all even where they were, but the problem with that is then they're not all going to be equal size. This is a big rookie mistake which I shouldn't have done. I should have done one, gone into the game and checked its size to see, if it suited the Scania or not. Because I just took a size from the other Scania, the 141, I figured it would be the same, in my head. But the thing you have to remember with trucks, especially with Euro Truck, is that the modded ones, they can be always slightly different. So the skins might be slightly different scales and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely what I'm seeing what you see me do right here, don't do that. Yeah. It really was annoying. I actually skipped out a lot after I'd done all this because I went into the game and looked at it. Not only was the pinstriping far too thick, which I should have noticed already, all the little details on it were too big, which you will see the difference between the slightly smaller ones. I was actually using a filter on these when I made them smaller because they were quite blurry. So that's filtering it, which is just the sharpened one, which I never usually use. But it seemed to actually kind of work with this one, which I've never seen. And this, I spent too long being confused. I know it looks quite quick in the video, but I spent a good 5-10 minutes trying to figure out where the hell that one went. And then I realised that I'd gone into another layer. There we go. So now we're in game. You can see that, it looks okay. But for my taste, they were just too thick, and it seems to be lagging on my screen, but whatever. There we go. You've just seen that jump, and you can see how thinner all of the pinstriping is. So I went back and I redid every single bit of it. Did it all over again, just to get it to... It's only like a pixel or 2 pixels thin now, rather than it being 3, so... It doesn't sound like much, but it makes a huge... When you see it in-game, it makes a huge difference. Now all this is actually bits that came off the old Scania that I did, as you can see there. The ideas came from that and I decided to put them back in. However, because of that being an old Scania and it being Douglas & Sons, it was, I guess you could say it's a little bit of role-playing-ish, but it was more just a concept of design, whereas the old truck is a 1970, I think it's a 72 or 73 model of truck of Scania, and I would put on that the company was established in 1972. Back then I was not alive, so it would make no sense for it to be like J. Douglas or whatever like that. So I did it as Douglas & Sons, which makes more sense. Whereas this one, it being a very modern truck, it's being the R series, not a Streamline, I haven't done those yet. I decided to modernise it a little bit and using the same kind of details, but having it as Douglas Limited rather than, Douglas & Sons. But keeping a lot of the original features from the old truck still there, like the established, you got 1972 there. The UK and Continental along with the English and Scottish flags there. But yeah, eventually the Douglas Limited thing, I actually do give that the curve as well, just so it matches the original design, just because I thought it looked better. At the time I didn't think I had enough room to do it on that little side, because there's not much room there, because you have to remember there's also the door handle there, which you will see. There you go. Also you can tell how much better the pinstriping looks because it's thinner, but there we go, you've had a big jump. And this is something that I actually made for a completely different skin. This was for the Lewis 92 Scania that I did, but I never actually used it for that because I came up with a better idea. But for this one I wanted to incorporate a bit of that Holland style, because obviously you see that design quite a lot on Holland style trucks, and you can see it looks pretty good. But when we came out and changed the colours, so it's a little bit more out there, I guess you could say. And I actually think it looks really, really good. You'll see it change here. So I've got the blue outline on it and a red inside. So I started off with full red and thought, nah, let's try blue outline. And it looks really good. Especially when you'll see the truck all completely finished. I made it a little bit smaller as well, as you can see there, and tilted it so it lined up with as many lines as I could possibly get it to line up with, and there you go. Looks pretty awesome. Well, I think it does anyway. I really quite like that. As you can see, I got a bit happy at getting that right. Now, doing this, the front grille, I was quite fortunate in the fact that I'd already done all the striping on the Lewis 92 truck, all the grille slots. So I literally just copied and pasted it all over from there and made it white, and that was it. That's all I had to do with that one. Just sorting out layers and stuff, and this is the bit of pinstriping just on the front. This was a relatively easy bit to do. It didn't take much doing. It's just putting in the lines and making it all line up. Literally first attempt, and it was all right. So you know, there was no more editing I had to do there. The big thing for anyone who's watching this for tips on doing Photoshop with the skin, especially more elaborate ones like this, groups are your friend. It's the little icon where you would click on the bottom to bring up a new layer. The one to the left of that, clicking on that is just a godsend. Without that, I would just have no idea where most of my layers were. So always use groups. Even if you don't name them, I usually just leave them group 1, whatever, or rename to 1, 2, 3, it doesn't really matter. At this point I was trying to see if I could get that to fit. That had come off the original skin, but it was on the V8 bumper, whereas now I was using the smaller bumper, but nah. Another lucky thing is a lot of the stuff that I actually needed to finish it off, like doing the side skirts and everything like that, was already done, because the red and the blue that I'm using are actually pretty much the same colour as the previous skin, the wrap. I've just taken the wrap off it and given it, and there we go. So this is the part where I realised that I'd actually forgotten to do a couple of bits, and also the this bit, the bottom half of the grille, of course, being a smaller bumper, they're smaller, which I didn't occur to me at the time, so that's me just changing that, taking that off, because I thought, hey, you know what, I'm going to put pinstripe in there eventually, but I didn't record that part. So now there we go, that is the basics of the truck completely finished. There's going to be a few other little things I'm going to go back and tweak and do a bit of pinstriping on the side skirts and other bits like that. But other than that, that's it. So hopefully guys you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you come back and watch the next one. Bye!